Hey, beautiful people. It's your girl, Rocqi, from the It's So Real podcast. Please subscribe and help us grow our channel. So today on Rocqi's Reactions, I'm going to be reacting to another Chantel Simone video. And this video is titled Post 30 and Single as Fuck. I mean, AF, YouTube standards and stuff. But I will be posting the link to the video in the description box below. So yeah, let's get into it. Oh, make sure you check out the other Rocqi's reactions. I have a full playlist on the It's a Real Podcast YouTube channel, as well as on my personal YouTube channel, Life is Rocqi. Please go over there and subscribe. And I have a link to that description, or I have a link to that in the description box below. To my Becoming a Feminine Woman series, where I talk a lot about these issues. I'm not reacting to videos, I'm just talking about them and offering up some information that I think people really need to hear. So yeah, subscribe there, subscribe here, and let's get into it, shall we? Alrighty.
There are many videos out there who are going to tell women, oh, don't rush it, take your time, don't let society pressure you. But it's not society, it's your creator who said, hey, by age 35, you need to start pushing out your kids. Even before age 35, you need to start pushing out your kids or you're going to have high risk pregnancy.
Now, I will say, I love her intro.
Hey, you.
I will say there are some women who have been having healthy pregnancies in their 40s. I don't know the studies on that. Like, my mom was 35 and I was high risk. She had preeclampsia with me, a bunch of health issues after me. I know technology has gotten better, like I'm damn near 30. So hopefully, but yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna chance it for me. Like, again, I'm 29 now, so we are going to start trying in the next couple of years. And then it's gonna be most of my 30s just getting pregnant. but past 40, while it may be possible, I don't know how many women are willing to take that risk. So yeah, it's a gamble at that point, because you just don't know. You could have a healthy pregnancy and a healthy childbirth and baby and all that, but there also could be some complications. I don't know.
This is Chantel, and I use my channel to speak with Black women who want to learn how to love and work with a Black man so we can start seeing more two-parent households in the Black community. In this video, we're going to talk about being post 30 and single. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of clapback for this video. A lot of women are going to come in here and say, you don't love yourself. You need validation from man to feel worthy. And oh my gosh, sis, where is your self-esteem? However, hear me out. Let's put our emotion.
Yo, that deflection from self-reflection and accountability be real as fuck. Like, y'all, I got me a man. Y'all the ones out here complaining about the men. Myself and Chantel Simone are trying to help y'all, but your ego getting in the way. Humble yourself and stop projecting that shit onto somebody else.
To the side and just listen. The conversations that I have on my page is uncommon, and it's sometimes uncomfortable
for women,
but it's
talking
necessary
about it, yeah,
for us to change our outcomes. There's a stat that says only 1 in 4 of us Black women are going to get married in our lifetime, and if we ever want to change that, if we ever want to see different in our Black community, we first have to become different and do different. So I'm using this video and I'm using my page to have these uncommon conversations so we can start seeing different. I am almost at 5,000 subscribers, so to help me grow my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like this video. Now, hear me out. Nature put a clock on us as women, all right? God.
Now, mind you, I don't believe in God, but I started having my menstrual cycle when I was 9. And if we release 1 egg per menstrual cycle, so I started at 9. I think I was regular, like monthly regular, by the time I was 10. So I've had monthly menstrual cycles since I was 10 years old, meaning every month I've released an egg. And that I'm almost 30. So that's 20 years worth of eggs every month. So, how many eggs do I have left? Like that, you really got to start thinking about these questions, Like, again, I don't know. That's why I'm going to start trying in a couple years. Like, as soon as we get our money right, please subscribe. Yeah, because it's time to get it on and popping. Yes.
Allah, whoever you want to believe in, said that once a woman reaches 35-year-old, then she's going to have complication in pregnancy. That's high risk pregnancy, right? So the older you are, the more complicated your pregnancy might be. So this was not a man-made thing. Men, the patriarchy didn't say, okay, we're going to have women be limited and be on a time frame or whatever. It's the creator who did this. All right. So hear me.
And you also got to think about like civilization, human civilization. Like the reason we're delaying our pregnancies to our 30s is because of how much work it takes usually to get financially stable, but also within yourself and all this other stuff. Whereas like in different times, this amount of individual growth in adulthood wasn't happening, especially career for women, all this other stuff. So it was women were having children at younger ages back in the day because they weren't trying to develop their career and they weren't trying to grow themselves individually and all that other stuff. So we live in a particular age where just because of the society we've created, people are just waiting longer, So to have children, to start having children. Sure, there was plenty of people, and they talk about it all the time when they be like, oh, I'm be 40 and y'all kids won and my kids grown and all that stuff. Good for you, boo. But I was not having a child at 20. Thank you very much. But yeah, like some people did have teen pregnancies or pregnancies when they were young adults. So it's not everybody, but there is a lot of people who didn't and are delaying it for a variety of reasons, especially money being one. So,
if the creator said that at a certain age, at 30 to 35, post 35, you are going to have complication in pregnancy, was it then intended for us to focus on relationships in our 20s? And if many of us are post 30 and single, does that mean then we miss the bus? We miss the opportunity to form relationships at the time that we were supposed to form them? I hope this is making sense. All right? Let's break it down simple. If God told us that, okay, by age 35, you need to get pregnant or you're going to have high risk pregnancy, and many of us find ourselves close to that 35 age, but we're not in a relationship, we're not married, and we've never had kids, we're not, nowhere close to being pregnant. Did we mess up? That's what I'm basically trying to ask.
I mean, did you? Because, like, I have a couple of friends who are in their mid-30s, and one just got into a relationship, but I don't think we've talked about her having kids and whether she wants them or not. And that's a lot of things. A lot of women are deciding they don't want kids, and good for them. Don't feel pressured as a woman to have children. If you don't want living beings dependent on you, don't do it. Okay? That's a commitment. All right? Like somebody said, it's a tattoo on your face. Got to be committed to that shit. I think it was Viola Davis and Eat, Pray, Love. All right now. But yeah, so a lot of women aren't wanting children. That's cool. But yeah, you gotta, so if you get in a relationship later in life and you don't want children, he doesn't want children, then you good, right? But if you have no prospects, especially like on committed life partnership or committed co-parenting or anything like that, and again, some of you may be getting older and be like, you know what? Romantic relationships just ain't working. Who can I depend on? Who's going to be a good father? Who wants to have children? And we could just healthily co-parent together and have a family that way. It doesn't need to be a romantic relationship like my cousin. Like, shout out to you. Do that too. There are other ways to bring children into this world without romantic relationships, okay? But anyways, otherwise, yeah, kind of miss the boat. Like, listen, when I was going into my HBCU, I knew for damn sure that was a hell of a pool. You have a whole bunch of black men doing something with their lives. Like, that's the most, and then they're already vetted, so to speak. Like, that's the most, that's the highest quality of pool you will ever have in your life. And that's why I didn't go to Spelman. Yes, I know Clark Atlanta was across the street and Morehouse was down the street, but I knew my man was probably coming from an HBCU. So I needed to be in the pool that would give me the highest possibility. And look at that. My life partner came from the same school I was attending and I graduated from. We did not meet during, but our network allowed us to meet. So I knew at that point. Now, I got hung up on a guy for 3 years. Should have let that go and explore my options more. But hey, it is what it is. Lessons learned. The ability to let go. That would be something I'm teaching my daughters. Good God. But yeah, it's. So mind you, that's what, 18 to 21, 22? And now you're outside of that pool, right? You may go to grad school. I went to a PWI. I wanted a black man, so my options were none. So now you on the street meeting people, and that's just less opportunity. Like, you really got to seek that shit or use dating apps and whatnot. And it gets more complicated because more vetting needs to happen because you don't know these niggas. It's just, oh yeah. Don't go to college to find you a husband, but understand, if you looking for a husband, that's a prime pool, baby. That is a prime pool. And both, multitask. Focus on yourself, your career, and look for the possibilities, okay? But yeah, it's ooh. And I think it's because it's a delayed individual growth. Like, there's a lot of especially if you've been harmed. If you've been harmed and had trauma with your family or relationships in high school, or early relationships in college, like, you can hold on to that for a long period of time to then go through the healing process later. And it just takes time, for people to move through that process. And by that time they get out of that process, they may have missed the boat, as far as like getting in a romantic relationship with someone you want to have children with, just depending on your age. Because a lot of women are going to therapy and stuff, and they're working on their past relationships, their self-esteem, stuff like that. But it's like, yeah, millennials are in our 30s now, or approaching. So, and I think it's because it was drilled in our heads to like be independent. So like have our own career, not depend on a man. So like we didn't really prioritize, like, yeah, I want a husband, I want a life partner, I want a family, I want that. So what do I have to do to make that happen? What is within my control to allow for that possibility to arrive? Like, yeah, it's real out here.
All right, and that's what I'm encouraging you guys to think about. We need to stop pointing the blame. And there are many videos on YouTube. There are many videos out there who are going to tell women, oh, don't rush it. Take your time. Don't let society pressure you. But it's not society. It's your creator who said, hey, by age 35, you need to start pushing out your kids. Even before age 35, you need to start pushing out your kids or you're going to have high-risk pregnancy. So this have nothing to do with societal pressure. This is all nature. This is how God, Jah, Allah, whoever you want to believe in, created us. And this whole notion of, oh, woman, you're almost 30, but you don't have to worry. You don't have to force a relationship. You don't have to be desperate for a relationship yet. Don't be a pick-me. There's still time. You have their women in their 40s having...
And I said this on a previous episode in my Becoming a Feminine Woman series on Life is Rocqi. Please subscribe. Where I said, what makes you think time is on your side? Like, this isn't Build-A-Man where you can just pluck one out when you're good and ready. Like, who said, yeah, you're going to meet them in your 20s, in your 30s? Who said they're going to be where you live? Like, the entitlement. Like, why do you think you have time? Why do you think you have time? Like, please let me know in the comments below. I'm curious. Like, shit, I knew at 25 when things, because we were still thinking in a monogamous perspective with Oso and I was like, all right, it ain't working out for him, so I guess it's just me. Like, I knew at 25, like, that is just looking at reality. It's just, well, you know, I'm open to it, you know, but I'm 5 years to 30. Like, I gotta accept. And just because of opportunities, like, now, fortunately, I found non-monogamy and polyamory, and then that allowed our relationship to grow. But yeah.
Kids, women in their 50s having kids, not because there's an exception to the rule does not negate the rule. We need to start stressing this to our younger girls. I'm not saying come from a place of desperation and to just date any dusties that you guys like to date anyways. I'm not saying to just date any dusty that you see on the street, but it's a fact that at age 35 you will have high risk pregnancy. After the age,
it's more of a chance that you'll have high risk. It's not guaranteed. That's why some women are having healthier pregnancies in their 40s, but it's just your risk increases at 35.
35, getting pregnant put you and the child at a higher risk of getting complications. So if that's the case, why put off certain things? Women, I'm not saying to shame women who are post 30 and single, but there needs to be some kind of sense of urgency. We have these too many women walking around so nonchalant, like so passive, like, okay, when a relationship comes, it comes, as if God did not put a time clock on you. And we need to start having these kind of conversations so the younger girls can be like, oh my gosh, yeah, if I desire to be a mom and if I don't want to put my child and myself through any complications, then I'm going to have to treat meeting a man and finding a partner with a little bit more urgency.
And I think that's the key, acknowledging your desire to have it. If you even remotely want this, want a husband, a life partner, children, you even remotely want that, then yeah, you're going to have to make certain choices to allow that to happen and understanding the time constraints that you're in. Honestly, your career could happen whenever. You could go back to school whenever. That's not as time constricted. But you specifically having children with person you want to spend your life with, that's under a time constraint. And I think more. And again, I wanted to start talking about these things because, again, I'm trying to ask myself what the hell I'm going to teach my daughters. And I'm like, yeah, if you want this, you have to decide early whether or not you want this or not. Because your 20s will be about this. Yes, multitask and also focus on your career, you know, but you're going to have to make some choices and you're going to have to understand what the priority is, right?
This video is different from those post 30 and single videos that you might see around on social media. I am telling you that if you desire to be a mom, if you desire to have a family, there is a sense of urgency that needs to be behind it. Stop listening to these people who are telling you to take your time. Oh girl, you're post 30, don't let society pressure you. No sis, you're post 30, you want to have kids, high risk pregnancy starts at age 35. Start focusing on finding a good mate. Start focusing on preparing yourself to carry the kids that you want in your life. It's really that simple. We need to stop tiptoeing around women and we need to start calling a spade and telling us the truth. Because if someone had told me at age 25 that, hey, you have 10 years before you're going to have high risk pregnancy, I would have put a little bit more effort, a little bit more emphasis in trying to date. I would have dated a little bit more seriously. So this is me telling these younger girls, sis, don't listen to these old women who are going to tell you to focus on your education and don't put any stress to it and God will send you your man in time. No. Do the work. Prepare yourself, become the best versions of yourself so you can attract quality black men in your life who wants the same thing that you want. But it all starts by you putting in your work, and being nonchalant, being just so complacent with whatever happens is not going to get you your desired results. All right?
And that's important too. Like a lot of women, and I think I talk about this in my Becoming a Feminine Woman series on Life is Rocqi. Subscribe there, subscribe here, subscribe, help me get monetized, okay? But yeah, like a lot of women think their individual growth has to do with their career, their finances, maybe some emotional stuff, but it's not connected to who they can show up to be as a partner, right? Like it's just them. It's just individually. And it's like, if your relationship was a job, you would need to have the qualities to meet that job so they would hire you. And why don't we think about that when it comes to relationships? It's the accept me as I am and stuff. Like, you don't have to work to get here. Like, and like, you don't have to continue to work. You know, you have evaluations at jobs. You have promotions at jobs. Like, think about it in that context. So I think what I would want to be aware of when I'm teaching my daughters about life, relationships, all that is like, one, you have to decide very early on if you want children and why, because they're not always going to be babies. I know women get caught up with the baby phase, but they're not always going to be babies. So why you want children. Then prepare yourself to be the best mother. So what are you doing that? Like, I'm going back to school to study child development. Sure, I'm already a licensed marriage and family therapist, so I already have knowledge. I've worked with children majority of my life. Like, I already have an insight into how I want to be as a mother, but I also want to learn more. Not only to be as a mother, but also just because I want to do more stuff with children. Like, I want a daycare, I want an after school program, all that good stuff. But like, yeah, what are you doing to become the best mother? Are you reading parenting books? Are you reading, I'm watching this documentary on Netflix about babies and child development and stuff. Like, what are you doing to prepare yourself to be a mother? So that part, one. And then two, because if you don't want children, then you have more time. So that children, in what she's talking about, high risk pregnancy, that is the time constrictor. So you need to figure out what you want to do about kids. Second, if you do want a romantic relationship, again, how are you working to become a better partner, a better lover, a better communicator, a better listener, like a better resolver at conflict? Like, what are you doing to become the best version of a partner you can be? And then specialize it to that particular person. What are their love languages? What do they need? You know, what do they enjoy? Things they like to do. And it's not saying like only, like, yes, that person should also be catering to you and becoming the best partner for you. Like, nobody said only. But what are you doing? Take accountability. What is within your control? And again, if you want this, you have to work for it. Nothing in life comes easy. I feel like some people are some lazy motherfuckers. Like, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Unless you're a rich white man, straight and Christian. Nothing in this life comes easy to anybody else. Okay? We have to work for this if we want it. So first you got to decide if you want it. And then you got to decide how you're going to work for it. Like the woman complaining about not meeting a man and you ain't left the house. What, you think he gonna knock on the door like in some porn film? Like, get real, people. Get real. But all right, make sure you like, share, because the conversations need to be had, and subscribe. Help us get monetized. Help us grow this channel. Help with that passive and residual income so I can be a mother. Because we need this money. All right. I know what I want. Shit. And I'm working to get it. Hello. Subscribe. And stay tuned for more on Rocqi's reactions. Check out the rest of the It's a Real Podcast YouTube channel. We have more podcast episodes coming out. Make sure you check them out. And take care of you. Peace and love.